In war, patterns kill. Prior to World War II, the nation of Holland conducted a nationwide census where the variable religion was recorded. More Jews died from Holland than any other country. At the same time, the nation of Poland records all of its gun owners in a registration dataset. During Nazi-occupied Poland, the Nazis rounded up the recorded gun owners and killed them in a pit. The Vietnam War was the first time big data was collected and numerous metrics calculated. So much data, in fact, that US forces didn't know how to parse, store, clean, manipulate, and disseminate quickly to boots on the ground. Since Vietnam, a warfare of information systems has developed at a rapid rate. Did you know, in the Vietnam War, the average life of a machine gunner in combat was less than 30 seconds? Behold the power of data mining and the evolving landscape of warfare. Before I was a data scientist, I was a gunfighter. Hello world, my name is Data Mining Mike, and I'm a Marine Corps infantry combat veteran of 2 wars and 2 historic battles. First, let's discuss traditional warfare versus information warfare. Sun Tzu famously once said, "Now the general who wins a battle makes many calculations before the battle is fought. The general who loses the battle makes few calculations beforehand. Thus, do many calculations lead to victory, and few calculations lead to defeat? How much more no calculation at all? It is by attention to this point I can foresee who is likely to win or lose. Warfare is information acting on information. Move and countermove, as old as the founding fathers of the United States, outpacing the intelligence system of the British. Speed is a weapon, enabled by technologies like the telegraph, allowing us to pass information at a rapid rate, empowering Abraham Lincoln and the Union Army to outpace the better-trained Southern Confederacy. Modern warfare is based on the people and freedom of movement, and generally reduced to those pillars, but sometimes you can find some critical insights from data that you never considered, leading to the rise of data-driven decision-making. During World War II, Allied strategists face a critical intelligence challenge known today as the German tank problem. To plan efficiently, military leaders needed an accurate estimate on how many tanks Germany was manufacturing each month. Traditional intelligence agencies believe German factories were turning out roughly 1,400 tanks per month, while statisticians approach the question from a completely different angle, using mathematics instead of spy reports. Allied analysts noticed that many German tank parts, such as gearboxes, were stamped with sequential serial numbers. By collecting these numbers from captured and destroyed tanks, they realized they could treat the data like a statistical puzzle. Using the highest serial number found in the total count of tanks recovered, statisticians applied the formula to estimate the overall production. Their analysis suggested Germany was actually producing closer to 256 tanks per month, far lower than the conventional intelligence believed. When the war ended, German manufacturing reports became available. Remarkably, they showed real production averaged around 245 tanks per month, nearly identical to the statistical estimate. The accuracy of this insight had massive implications. It corrected flawed intelligence, reshaped Allied expectations about enemy strength, and informed more precise military planning during critical stages of the war. Here's the formula used for the German tank problem, where N is the number of tanks produced, M is the highest serial number observed, and K is the number of tanks sampled. In essence, the formula adds the average spacing between serial numbers to get the largest observed number, producing a surprisingly accurate estimate of total production. That showcases the power of data mining and influence of the statistician on the battlefield. What if I told you that page ranking is used in the battlefield too? Yes, they call it link analysis, allowing clusters of people to visually populate. This allows intelligence analysts to study hierarchies of command and behavior patterns, predicting enemy movements and intentions. Listen to this example. In Ukraine during the early stages of the war, the Russians had inferior equipment and used unencrypted radio channels. These channels were easily pinpointed and targeted with such precision that the Ukrainians killed 5 Russian generals. In a counterinsurgency environment, forecasting enemy attacks can be as simple or evident as a sharp rise in grocery prices. Another benefit of data mining is targeting with pinpoint accuracy and minimizing collateral damage. Fun fact, for scoring accuracy in machine learning models, there is a metric called the receiver operator characteristic, or ROC curve. The ROC curve is a statistical measure developed during World War II to help analyze the behavior of radar operators watching enemy aircraft. Sometimes these radar operators mistook signals of a flock of birds as enemy aircraft, a mistake that can be devastating in war because it results in sourcing of fighter planes, pilot power, and fuel to investigate. But if you mistake a group of enemy fighter planes as birds, well, death. Therefore, statistical concepts of sensitivity and specificity are terms first used to describe human radar operators. How sensitive an operator or how specific was the pattern analysis to the human operator. I know everyone is so concerned about the Terminator, Rise of the Machines scenario, and the charlatans love to preach that. However, we are far from machines replacing a man on the battlefield. We don't want that anyway. We don't want a national defense strategy reduced to battery life. Data is one of the oldest asset classes known to man. From as far back as where to hunt and look for food or plants, data is fuel for machine learning. A machine learning model is only as good as the data and the data scientists that created it. So where does it stop and where does it begin? How about data mining the social media accounts of oppositional forces? What about their families? Aren't there other countries doing it already? Well, how do you know? How can you be so sure? That's something most humans suffer from. It's called the illusion of completeness or the fantasy of order. There is no all-seeing man-made data collector in the cloud monitoring your every digital move from every information system. No, the information is siloed and the data is dirty. And it's not like everyone in the world gets together and lays out a plan on how they want to collect data, let alone answer the questions such as how long to hang on to it, or what to do if it gets deleted or leaked. Of course, raising privacy concerns for potential misuse. Understand that the entities that collect the data don't want to give up your data as easily as you do. They are consumed by greed, and it's that greed that protects your data. Balancing national security with individual freedoms is always a struggle. It starts with you, the individual. You choose to get involved or stay ignorant, to vote or not vote. Which, yes, brings up the risk of data overdependence. How much more of your thinking are you going to give up to a machine? Paralysis by analysis. Data is a great tool that has caused people to lose skills, such as reading a map. On a national security level, the reliance of technology has greatly degraded the physical skills needed to physically fight a war. In the future, there may be ethical dilemmas of autonomous warfare systems, but just know that autonomous warfare systems don't exist in the way you think they do, and the ones that do exist are 100% reliant on human correction. However, it has the potential for escalation and unintended consequences, shaping the future of warfare. Balancing the power of data with human judgment. Big data is the currency of kings. That concludes this video on data mining in warfare. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, click subscribe button, smash bell, and leave comments below. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Data mining mic podcast that you like.